Hello and welcome. Today we've got Dean Sandstrom and we will be discussing how to become a state citizen. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channel and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview. Dean, thank you for joining me. And where do we begin with this?
Well, thank you for having me. And I'd like to discuss how to become a state citizen. And it's a very, very simple process, but there'll be some legal ease involved here. But let me just assure any American that, one, this is very important. And it's about as easy to do as getting a driver's license. Okay, so if you got a driver's license, this process is no more difficult than that. I have some websites set up, so would it be okay if I share the screen?
Absolutely. Let me just allow you to share your screen now. Hang on. So you're able to do that now.
Thank you. And I want that one. Okay. All right. Let's start here. And I know there's those images here. I'm going to try to bring that down a little bit. Okay, is anything obscuring? Well, I guess our photos are obscuring, right? I don't know exactly what it looks like, but can you see the screen okay now?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, silver bullet to your right, secured by the Constitution, a treatise on state citizenship.
Citizenship. Okay, now this document is available at coppermoonshinestills.com. And don't call the guy. He makes stills, okay? But he's been doing this for, I think, more than 25 years. And he, probably him and a couple of his associates prepared this document to make it very easy, okay? A lot of people may be confused about I'm speaking to Americans, okay? And since your audience is international, I was going to do the British side by side with it. I think it's the same thing, but on account of time, I think I'm going to hold out on that one. But just to let people know, whether you're in Britain or Ireland or wherever you are in the world, except maybe France, or what's called civil, if you're in a common law country like England, then this is going to apply. Pretty much this information applies to you. Instead of using like the American form, you would use your passport application for UK citizenship. And okay, so this audience is pretty smart. And I guess many of you saw that Ann Vanderseel had started the process of going through American citizenship, changing her status to a state national from a United States citizen. There's a lot of ways to do it. And many of them are, as this treatise says, very complicated. And I've tried the complicated ones by affidavit, filing a public record, giving notice, difficult, complicated. I came along this remedy because I've been in this fight for a long time. I think very earnestly since 2001, since the towers came down. That's when I saw the big plan, where everything was heading. I said, what can you do? You have to find a remedy. You can't just crawl in a cave and, let them win. Got to fight somehow. So this process is very, very, very simple. Okay. Now I know you can see the text probably, so the viewers can probably read some of this text. And if you really wanted a deep dive, you can download this document and read it in its entirety. But for the video, I'm going to cut right to the chase, more or less. But more or less, we all know that the Act of 1871 formed a corporation, and that corporation has federal employees, okay? Now, everything that we've done in our lives, when we've got our driver's license, when we filled out forms, employment forms, we've all our lives, Americans, or even Brits, you've probably done the same thing. by checking off I'm a British subject or I'm a British national or whatever, that pegs you into a statutory class, more or less. Okay? So I'm not going to give too much explanation as to how that happened. I'm going to go right into the document, okay? Because I'm sure a lot of people have watched this and they hear everyone talking about it. And it's like, well, how do you do it? Can you just tell me how to do it? I'm going to tell you how to do it. All right, you ready? Now, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Sorry for the movement. Okay, I'm going to start right at the passport application because it is that simple. Okay. You can see the passport application?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go over here. This, I've downloaded an actual blank. So it's the same form. The only difference between these forms, if you look up in the upper right-hand corner, this is the most recent one. It's a OMB expiration date of 10/31/2020. Okay. And this one was from 2019. Forms haven't really changed. Essentially the same form. Okay, so basically the point here is you're not a United States citizen. And nobody in your family, your ex-wife, your wife, your father, your mother, no one, that's the most important point, no one is a United States citizen. Okay, so filling this form is pretty straightforward. Name, date of birth, put in your social security number. There's a lot of debate about, oh, if I use my social, blah, blah, blah. Look, if you don't put your social security number on this form, it's going to get rejected. You're not going to get your passport, okay? Put your social security number. It's not going to do you any damage. Very simple, straightforward. Now, this is important. In your mailing address, where you're going to receive your passport, you're going to put in care of, okay? Now, the reason that we put in care of is when you use a zip code, it places you inside of a federal territory, okay? And for those that want to know a little more, it's called the Buck Act of the United States. So in order for the federal government to tax a citizen of one of the several states, they have to create a contractual nexus. The contractual nexus is called a social security number. The federal government always does everything according to the principles of laws. They know, they're sharp, okay? So what they did was they passed what's called the Buck Act, which created a federal area or a federal territory within the states, within the de jure union states, okay? So that's how they create United States citizens. They create federal citizens, even though I'm living in on New York, on the land of New York. But through the zip codes, through this overlay, they create a federal citizen. Okay, now that's the reason that we're going to put in care of your actual address. Okay, simple so far. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now we're going to scroll down a little bit. This is optional, okay? On the first page, they ask you to sign without prejudice UCC 1-308, meaning that you're reserving all of your rights and you're not waiving any of your rights. And you're actually asking for anything to be resolved under the common law. Excuse me, I need a little juice here. It's early in the morning. Okay, so you can put that in if you're really confident. Look, I'm a state citizen. I don't need to rely on UCC 1308. Okay, I stand on the soil. I stand on common law. But this gentleman recommended it as a precaution. Okay, so we're just going to put without prejudice UCC 1-308 at the signature line. Now we're going to scroll down. Now this is the important part, right? Again, continue with the application. You're going to fill out your name, your date of birth, place of birth. Okay. You're going to get a long form birth certificate. In the United States, we have a short form, which is an abbreviated document, and the long form. The reason you're going to want it, you're going to need a copy, and in fact, the passport agency requires you to have a long form, because on the long form, there's going to be a section that says where your parents were born. It's like, mother, Jane Jones. She was born in Houston, Texas, right? And the dad, Bob Smith. Well, he was born in Plano, Texas, all right? That the birth certificate, regardless of what a lot of people say about a bond and so forth, and that's all true, it's evidence that you were born in a state, okay? Your birth certificate is proof, right? And I think the same thing works for you Brits, right? Because I don't know, on your birth certificate, Nicholas, I don't know if you prefer Nick or Nicholas.
Oh, you can call me whatever you like. It's fine.
I've had so many friends named Nicholas, and I've never called one of them Nicholas. They're all Nicks. Nick V, Nick B, Nick from Jersey. Okay, thank you. But the birth certificate is your evidence that shows you were born in a union state, okay? So like yourself or a Brit, you got a birth certificate. It says, oh, I was born in London, England, right? Or whatever town. That's your proof that you were born in England and you have rights under the Magna Carta. Your history is rather long and a little sordid, right? You guys don't actually have a constitution. You guys have an unwritten law and statutory law, okay? So under the unwritten law, history, tradition, you're all freemen. Okay, but on the passport application, it's going to ask you to put down British national, British subject, British blah, blah, blah. Man, you're not any of those. You're a free man. Okay, so I would, if anyone would like to try this or, use the same principles here and just use a little different terminology, your terminology. Here we're called sovereigns. Over there you're called freemen. Okay, so again, simple form. I don't really need to explain how to fill out a form other than this box right there. See where it says check off no? Okay. No one was a U.S. citizen. Not your mother, not your father, not your ex-wife, not your current wife. I don't think it doesn't have children on here. Okay, so it's that simple. You're going to get a form. You're going to fill it out like a driver's license application. Check off, no, I'm not a United States citizen, okay? And everything else is, your occupation, blah, blah, blah. Now, on this part, on the permanent address, again, this is because of the Buck Act, okay? This part's important. Just put rural free delivery, city, state, and all zeros for the zip code. Don't put a zip code in there, all zeros. That's going to place you outside of the federal area or a federal territory.
Right.
Okay. And in this case, like this guy has a wife, right? And, or no, this is an emergency contact. But you can see, any place where it asks U.S. citizen on this form, we're going to say no. Okay. Fill out the form, and that is how you, okay. Now, you just go down to the post office, right? Mm-hmm. And just so you know, when I went down there, they're going to, first of all, use black ink on the form, okay? Only black ink. And they're going to review it. And when I got mine, the clerk at the post office, she's reading it. Oh, okay, so, your mother wasn't an American citizen? I'm like, no. Oh, okay. Well, your father wasn't an American citizen? That's a long story, and it looks like we've got a line of people here. So, okay, so don't let them tell you, oh, you filled this out wrong. Stick to your guns. This is why David Strait says, go to the passport agency, hand the documents, and zip it. Okay? Yeah. You say, I'm here for my national or my state citizen passport, and zip it. So in the passport office, they give you a little, oh, I'm confused. Let them be confused. Just tell them it's an interesting story and move on. Now, it's about, depending on if you have expedited service or not, I've had 3 passports, okay? And every time I get my passport, the old ones, I've got my passport, and it's like, oh, here's your passport. Have a nice day, right? Okay, when I did the American national state citizen passport, I got a letter from the State Department that said, we've updated your records according to the information that you provided with your passport application. Updated because they're never going to tell you straight up, oh, guess what? You're a state citizen now. They updated my records to change my location from Washington, D.C. to Connecticut, which was where I was born. Okay, so now I'm on the land in Connecticut, state citizen, and I just bounced off that page. But that is pretty much the form, straightforward. It's called the DS11. You download DS11, use black ink, go to copper. I'll go back up to the top here. That's the website right there. You can see that. And it's really that simple. Okay. Now, I know, again, you don't put an affidavit with it. Okay. You're going to get rejected. So it's that simple. It's a 2-page form. I think it's $170 to get a passport. And once you get it back, you have diplomatic immunity. And if we have a minute or two, if it's okay, I know I've been talking on. Do you have any questions or is anything?
So you're saying that this is just as simple as basically applying for a new passport?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. The other thing was, once we gain or inherit diplomatic immunity after being successful of our application,
yes,
what kind of benefits does it give us? For an example, are we subject to statutory law, income tax, or anything like that?
Right. Okay. Right. If time permitting, I'm going to explain that. Now, I got to go to the right tab. Okay. One note before we get to that. Okay. This is a good code to remember once you've completed this. Whoever violates any safe conduct or passport duly obtained and issued under the authority of the United States shall be fined under this title, imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. Okay? So it says in the passport, hey, you just render aid if this person, right? But don't interfere. Okay? So you get pulled over by a police officer, you can kindly remind them if they get, too crazy that 18 U.S. Code 1545 says you're supposed to give me safe conduct. And if you don't, right, if you try to detain me or mess with me, then you might be in jail for 10 years. So think about it. But always be nice to law enforcement, okay? The best thing that works is not a nasty attitude. Is a yes, sir, no, sir, hand on the steering wheel, be very, very polite. In our case of state nationals, we don't use driver's license. What we have is our passport and the Constitution. I got a little pocket Constitution. So when he asks me for my driver's license, or he asks me for my papers, I'm going to hand him my passport and the Constitution, right? Now, he should go back to his car and scan that passport and go, oh, this guy's on the do not detain list, right? Walk back to the car and go, here you are, sir. Drive safely. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, if he's kind of a jerk, and in some states, they're going to still try to issue you a ticket and so forth, but no contracted mail, send it back in. Shouldn't have any problem. And again, look at the treatise that I showed before. It has a more comprehensive explanation how to deal with government and authorities. Now, as far as what the benefits are, okay, let me get to the right tab. Okay, in 1976, after Nixon removed the final link to gold and silver from the US dollar, the government needed to provide a remedy to the people. Just like they did in 1933 when they removed gold they provided a remedy, which was the discharge of debt. Foreign Sovereign Immunity Act, okay? This is what, okay, if you remember, the United States corporation is a foreign, okay? It's foreign to us, state citizens. So we have what's called foreign sovereign immunity. And if you ever need to use it, case law says you must invoke it at the first step, okay? So as soon as we have any contact, police says, okay, you're under arrest. Oh, I got foreign sovereign immunity. You have to raise it immediately. Okay, now, further on the explanation. Okay, this is the United States Code, okay? And when you said the benefits of it's limited diplomatic immunity, okay? Now, when you're a United States citizen, you are subject to the entire code, okay? I hope this isn't too complicated. There's two types of law. As if you're looking, you see this page, right? You see how some of it's white and some of it's blue?
Right.
Okay. The titles that are enacted into positive law are indicated by blue shading, okay? So not all of the United States Code is actually positive law. What does that mean? What does positive law mean? It means that, if you can see this right here, when a title of code is enacted into positive law, the text of the title become legal evidence of law, whereas titles that have not been enacted into positive law are only prima facie evidence of the law. Okay, that doesn't mean anything to 99.9% of the people. What does it really mean? It means that, go back to, nope, that sounds good. Wow. United States Code. The blue sections, like here, Title 18, that applies to everybody. American citizens, state nationals, you, right, as a British, as an Englishman, right? You come over to the United States, you don't have to do anything, but you're going to be subject to the blue, okay? It doesn't take what's called an affirmative action to be subject to that law. It's more or less like when it comes to Title 18, it's crimes. You can't commit fraud. You can't murder people. You can't harm people, right?
So, Dean, let me ask you this. In white, we have customs and duties. That means that we are not subject to that because it's white. So what does that mean, customs duties, for an example?
Right, exactly. That's our, for example, at the border, right? They can't mess with state nationals. You can't mess with me going across a border, okay? Right? Okay, but something that might be a little bit more interesting to people is, do you notice where it says Title 26, Internal Revenue Code? You see how that's in white? Okay, yeah, state nationals aren't subject to that. And here's another one, Title 21, Food and Drugs. Do you know that people that are convicted of cocaine, crack, fentanyl, methamphetamine, they're all charged under Title 21, Food and Drugs. It's not positive law. I think I mentioned this before, I say it a lot, but for example, it's not illegal to be in possession of cocaine if you have a license. Like if you're a doctor, they have it in their office. Okay, hospitals have it in their their supply. Okay, it's not illegal. If you don't have a license, because the Title 21 says you have to have a license. Okay, and if you're a United States citizen, they railroad you more or less under Title 21 and say you're subject too. And the way that they do that is through what's called interstate commerce. If you look at all the Department of Justice charges, whenever they charge someone, it always has something to do with interstate commerce, because the federal government can actually controls commerce between the states. Okay, I don't know if that answers that.
Makes sense. Yes, yes.
Okay, so you're only subject to the white areas if you take an affirmative act step, right? Like you file a tax return. Yeah, you're automatically subject to it, okay? The filing of a tax return and so forth. Now, if we have a minute or two, there's a lot of discussion. A lot of people talk about courts, right? And I'd like to explain what a court is, okay? Now, is this reasonable? Do you think most people would believe if I said to them that a court is a place where justice is served, where law, facts, and evidence are submitted in order to determine guilt or innocence? They use the facts and the evidence and weigh it against the law to determine the outcome of a case. Okay, and so when you go to court, you know, facts are important and evidence is important, and we're looking for justice. And I think most people would agree with that, you know, to some degree, right? That there's a little, you know, shenanigans going on or a little fraud in the courts or whatever. But for the most part, that's what courts are, right? Yeah, no, that's not what a court is. You know what a court is? A court's a bank. It's a bank, okay? So when you go to court, when you're hit with charges, all they're asking for is for you to pay the debt. Okay? Now, so when I also wanted to say a great shout out to like Mike Lindell. I can't reach, but I've got everybody needs to buy a pillow from this guy. He's okay, I'm going to go on a tangent here because I did want to say this. I've been following in this movement for over 20 years. There's never been a time like this. Never. Never. Do you guys know who Jerry Kane is? Winston Trout? How about Yusuf Al? Howard Freeman? Yeah, you guys don't know any of those people, do you? Okay. Well, Gordon Hall, you know that? Gordon Hall, great in contracts? No, these were the guys that were at the top of the Patriot movement, the old Patriot movement before this Great Awakening. And I said years ago, you know, how come there's not like a millionaire who, you know, puts his money where his mouth is, you know, for the freedom of this country? Now look at where we are. We got generals, Flynn, we got Lynn Wood, we've got Mike Lindell. Oh my God, Mike Lindell, what? He is a bulwark of patriotism. That guy is incredible. We've got Sidney Powell. We've got guys like you and the whole truth movement. This is, folks, if you have any doubt in your mind, okay, look at the people that are in this movement, and I compare them to, okay, remember all those names I said? Winston Trout, Gordon Hall. Yeah, Winston Trout was a top guy in commerce. You know where Winston Trout is right now? Yeah, he's in jail. He's in federal prison in California. Gordon Hall? Yeah, he's in federal prison in South Carolina. I could go down the list of guys that threw me in jail. You know what I mean? Okay, so if anyone questions whether this Great Awakening is real and if we're going to win, just look at the people that are actually putting their money where their mouth is, like Lynn Wood putting his reputation where his mouth is. This is incredible, people. I feel so honored just to be in the same movement with them. It's like, I know, it's like you're that soldier that's been cut off and you're isolated and you're running out of supplies, and all of a sudden the Third Army, you know, you're in the Belgian forest getting hammered by the Nazis, right, running out of bullets, and all of a sudden Patton shows up with the Third Army and just boom. That's how I feel. I feel Lindell, and I feel the Third Army, the the big guns, the people that can actually move public opinion in a positive way. You know, I did my best here to take a shot at having people change their status. Who am I? I'm not some knucklehead on the internet. You know what I mean? Maybe someone will listen, but we've never had this before. It's just absolutely incredible. I just can't believe it. It's okay. Sorry for the tangent, but
I agree.
I gotta say that. I mean, after the Lindell Symposium and and Cindy. By the way, I've got Mike's pillows. I read Linwood's pleadings. I've got a signed copy of Cindy Powell's book. I'm trying to do everything I can to support these people. Watching their videos, okay. I support you. So, you know, this is a team effort, and I'm just so honored that it's here. Nick, I never thought this day would come. I never thought we would be in a position. I was hunkered down. What do you think? I know all these legal remedies because I'm like, you know what? We're screwed. And I got to figure out how to at least protect myself, get some kind of shield. That's why I've learned all these remedies and learned all these laws. And it's still very important because remember, folks, when our republic's restored, only state nationals are a part of the republic. Okay, so if Donald Trump comes back, there's only about 40 or 80,000 of us right now in the United States. We need everybody. We need everybody to change your status to become part of the republic so that when this, over the next 5 or 10 years, okay, as it returns to common law, everybody will start off with a proper status, okay? Because they're not going to change the laws when all this happens, okay? But sorry, I'm on a rant.
No, Dean, I wanted to ask you, is there any way that we could have an email for you at the bottom, as well as the link to the form so that people can ask you some questions?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That you reminded me. There's an expression in the medical profession. Watch one, do one, teach one. Okay? That's what everybody has to do. All right? Right now, I've watched one, I've done one, I'm teaching now. Okay? For this, everyone has to teach. Okay? So, anyone in any social influencer, any of the BitChute people like Mel K, I'm trying to think of who are some of the Americans, Nino, anybody in Nick's audience, anyone in Nick's audience, I will personally answer your questions. I'll give you my email. Shoot me an email. I'll send you my phone number. I'll walk you through it. I'll hold your hand through the process. It's okay. So if there's anyone that needs any assistance at all, absolutely. I don't know how I'll give you.
I love it, Dean. This is what we need: a service to humanity and to show love and care, and that's exactly what you're projecting.
And
thank you.
Remember, buy a pillow, buy Sidney Powell's book, support Nick, Nick's show, support Charlie's show, support Mel K. Just everybody, you know, this is a team effort. Like Lon says, everybody on board. We need all hands on deck. Okay, so I would be more than happy to help anyone in the world. You're from the UK? Matter of fact, who are those two guys on Mahoney?
David Mahoney, Lee Dawson?
Yeah. Oh, those guys. Man, if they have what it takes to try to do the same thing in England.
The UK, yeah, they are very into this. Yes,
yeah.
People need to be educated, because if we can't make a change if we're not educated. We need to first of all rectify. We need to understand and observe and be aware of the issues. Then we take action, and this is what you're doing, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. Watch one, do one, teach one. That's what we got to do. Okay, so everyone like yourself or some of the other folks. All right, once they go through the process, they're going to realize, oh my God, that was easier than getting my driver's license. They're usually nicer at the post office than the DMV.
So
You're going to go be excited and say, oh, I want to share this. And then it can go viral.
So the main pointers really of this application is when they ask for your address, for your postcode, you put 0000 in the zip code or the postcode. Here we call it postcode. And you're saying that you do not click or select British citizen if, over here, for an example.
Right. I actually looked at the British passport application, and there's like 6 choices. It says, are you a British national, a British subject, a British protected person, or I don't remember all of them. And it's like, yeah, no, you're not any of those. You're a freeman.
So
and I'm not sure about, I'm pretty sure instead of sovereign, it would be freeman. I'm a freeman, and not freeman on the land. Okay? Because they always try to twist it to make it sound crazy, like sovereign citizen. All right, that doesn't make any sense. Free man on the land. Well, that doesn't really make sense. You're a freeman. Or the term could also be Englishman. Right? If you were born in England, you're an Englishman, right? So you're not a.
What I'm trying to say is that they're the only 2 things. And was there anything else? Permanent address, rural free delivery.
If we're still on screen share, I left it on. Is the zeros, rural free delivery, and you are not or anybody a United States citizen.
Right, got it. And those are you just fill in the form as normal and you just remember those 3 things.
Yep. In care of, under your mailing address, no one's a United States citizen, and rural free delivery. And all zeros on it. Nick, right. It says, are you surprised? Are you surprised how simple it is? Yeah. It's, when you get your passport, my passport came in, I think, like 4 weeks. And I got the letter, it updated it. And I haven't tried it in terms of law enforcement or, I don't get pulled over.
Right. Well, Dean, thank you very, very much for sharing that with us.
Thank you for allowing me, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the education that people need. We need to stick together. We need to educate. And, we need to get everyone on board so that we can create an army of patriots and free people. So absolutely. Thank you so much, Dean. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish? Anything else?
Support Nick. Have a great day. And thank you for your time. I sincerely appreciate anyone who's watching this and has learned anything or has prompted anyone to take action in this area. And again, I don't know, I'm going to give Nick my information and contact me. I'm here. I will help anybody. And thank you, Nick, so much for your
you're fantastic. You're a very good person. Thank you so much, Dean, and God bless you. And we'll speak soon, okay?
Okay, I'm going to hit stop share. And thank you so much, Nick. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.